you're still playing the game of pain. You're still dancing with the darkness when we play the blame game. When we say, you're doing it, you're fucking us over, you're killing us. You're still playing the blame game. And you're still not totally free. What's up, guys? Josh Mason here. If you don't know my story, basically I went through 3.5 years of debilitating depression, panic attacks, anxiety. I was suicidal 24/7. I lived in the Amazon jungle for almost 8 months, working with ayahuasca on 3 separate occasions, living in the Amazon jungle. Working with mushrooms and ketamine and all kinds of plant medicines, fasting, and colonics, and I did, juice fasts, water fasts, float tanks, nutritional balancing, yoga, meditation, everything I could get a hold of, and I couldn't find any relief. And eventually I kind of healed myself, I healed myself with a really intensive heavy metal and parasite detox protocol. But when I first healed myself after 3.5 years of torture, I had a lot of anger towards the government and the powers that be. I was so locked in this state of fuck the government, fuck the big companies and corporations, they're poisoning us with their food, and the vaccinations are killing us, and not having regulations with heavy metals and sushi is fucking us over, and look, all of this stuff may be true, the fact that they're fucking us over, right? In fact, it is true. So I'm not going to say that there's not a lot of fuckery going around in today's time, but what I realized after I started having deeper and deeper levels of peace in my being is that we cannot create the opposite end of a war, the opposite pole of a war. People make their careers based on, you have one person making their career on feeding people shitty food and creating maximum profits, minimal quality food, minimum nutrients food. But then you have someone who makes their living are saying that they're doing it all wrong, and cursing at them and saying they're fucking us over, they're killing us, and basically blaming the opposite pole. And it's important to recognize that you're still playing the game of pain. You're still dancing with the darkness when we play the blame game, when we say you're doing it, you're fucking us over, you're killing us. You're still playing the blame game. And you're still not totally free. And of course, I'm still working at this, but the point is that we have to step out of the game entirely. Okay? It's a game we cannot win. A war, this type of war is a game we cannot win by playing or fighting in the war. Just like, similarly, a concept of, there's a book called Busting Loose from the Money Game, which is an incredible book. It talks about how no matter what you do, if you're playing the money game, you're losing the game. Because even if you're making millions, if you're doing it in a way that's not completely aligned, or that's sacrificing some part of your health, then it's coming at a huge cost. The making of the money is coming at a huge cost. So the only way to truly play the money game is to actually bust loose from it, to separate from it, recognize that money is total imaginary concept, and kind of manifest it. But not manifest it in this woo-woo bullshit esoteric way of, I'm going to create money. No, it's more so of you got to have a channel open for people to be able to pay you. You got to have some type of way for people to be able to give you money, but essentially just giving love or value, mostly just love, in exchange for money. So recognizing that money is a form of appreciation right? It's a form of appreciation, and it's a form of, yeah, it's a token of appreciation is what it is. So my point in explaining money is that with this concept of health, you know, we have to bust loose from the health game. Busting loose from the health game would entail not blaming anyone, not fueling anger or having anger towards someone that may have, you know, hurt you. And, you know, I had a dentist that put 2 massive amalgam fillings. I mean, fucking A, man, they were that big in my teeth. One filling was spanned like, and essentially the whole right side, the whole top right side of my mouth was just covered in mercury. And, you know, and this dentist, I had anger towards. I was like, that motherfucker. It's like, he did it on purpose. He tried to kill me, you know? And I went through 3.5 years. I lost all of my life. Everything was stripped away. Imaginary lost all my life. I didn't actually, but all the stuff that I thought was important was stripped away. Lost my money. Lost tons of relationships. And, you know, so I have a right to be upset and pissed off. I fucking spent $160,000 on my health. I lost my job, my girlfriend that I had, everything I lost. It was stripped away from me until I was totally naked my whole life. And so I have a right to be upset and pissed off, and I'm telling you that it's not the highest path to be pissed off. It's not. I've forgiven the dentist. I've forgiven the government. I forgive the powers that be. They're all brutally traumatized in their own way, and somehow, somewhere, they think that that their life and their suffering is going to be over. And it's also a diversion of responsibility that happens in these corporations. Like, oh, well, he said this, and then, but he said we can use that product, and he said we can use that chemical, and nobody's taking it on full force and saying, whoa, what are we doing here to humanity? Are we helping or are we hurting? And so, not to say that they're doing it right or that they're not at fault, but it doesn't matter who's at fault. You have to reclaim sovereignty. The way to reclaim sovereignty is to blame nobody. It's to take full power of the situation. So we must forgive. We got to forgive the factory farmers. We got to forgive the corporations like Monsanto who are fucking killing everyone. You know, we don't support them. But saying that here's the thing. It's important to recognize facts, right? So the people who are on the opposite end of the war, of the pole, are still serving a good purpose because they're enlightening people to the truths, right? But once the truth is lit up, the consistent ruminating on that, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them, you're playing in the war, you're not healing. You're not healing, you're hurting. So it's important to wake up to the truth, recognize it as a truth, and move forward, irrespective of the truth, you know? And like I said, I'm still working on this. You know, I'm trying to curb my business and my message to a more loving place as opposed to, I don't think I've ever really been this way, but, you know, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them, you know? So, stepping out of the health game, how do we do it? How do we play the health game? We have to step out of it entirely. Okay? Don't play the game. Don't play in that war of they're doing it right, we're doing it wrong. Look, I have a lot of respect for the vegan community. Overall, they're doing something good for the world. I'm not a vegan, and I have tons of reasons for doing so after trying it for 8 months, which I'll make another video on. But you watch these vegan enthusiasts just shame everybody else for eating animals and eating meat, and what the fuck are they doing? What are they doing here? They're not actually spreading love, you know? They're not actually aligned with true love because they're just saying everyone else is doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. What the fuck are you doing? You know, this is a little bit of a stretch, but it's a similar analogy of when a heroin addict is, you know, taking heroin, we want to say, what the fuck are you doing taking heroin? But in reality, you may have done the same thing in his situation. It's not about why the drug, it's about why the pain. So we can't judge and say that someone's doing it wrong. You know, what's wrong? What's right? So, yeah, this is just kind of a neutral message to spread some deep truths about the health world, the health community, and what I feel a big hole in the game is, and where people are going a little bit astray, in my opinion. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed it. Peace.